Okay, here I am. Hopefully this works. Hopefully you can hear me. And yeah. So we're live, I guess, and we'll find out what exactly everything's doing. This is my setup I've been working on. Oh, okay, good. This is the setup I got going back here, and I've been tweaking on it for, I don't know, a couple hours now, trying to get that to look better so that there's not anything else in the scene. But it's just basically an Unreal scene going on the game machine. So what I have planned today, which I have a couple things I have to do today, but the one thing I have to do is try and see if I can get the backdrop to transition to a different scene so that we can play with some different colors and see what my the light setup I have for the environment as it changes and see what it does. Um, it's it's never going to work perfectly because I have a closet that it is chroma keying right now, which is a dark brown and not a very good chroma key at all. In fact, I've been spending a lot of time trying to make sure that my silhouette doesn't really crop into it. And so when we get into the other scenes, we're going to find out that this magical trick is going to slowly distort, and I'm going to start fading into the environment. There's also a problem that the light up here will actually interfere with the backdrop. So we have it even influences my chroma key if it changes too much color. So I have this plan, and hopefully by the next time I do a stream, that's probably not going to be totally the case, but eventually we're going to have a situation where I'm going to have a green screen, and I have these things to get these lights to come out a little bit further away and also aim them so they don't point against the green screen. And then I have another light I'm going to put back further to make sure the green screen is nicely evenly illuminated, so that I get a nice clean picture, hopefully. And I even have this crazy contraption on the floor here to be able to support the green screen down off of the wall. So it's going to be interesting to see if all this effort ends up working out so that I have something that looks pretty clean. Because right now it's pretty noisy and boily, and I don't know, I could sit there and tweak all the time trying to get that graininess out of it. But the problem is my lights are changing. So, I might pick one particular calibration, and then all of a sudden we're going to be like in the dark part of the forest, and then my face will start to boil or something. So it really has to has to work under multiple conditions, which is excessively tricky without a proper green screen. And I don't really have a lot of experience with green screens, so that is definitely something that's going to be exciting as I learn how it works and learn what doesn't work, I should say. So anyway, the other thing I was doing was trying to get used to the OBS Studio and get familiar with that workflow. And I even braved to download another software. I think it's, what is it, Streamlabs or something. And it has another OBS thing. And it has some cool extra features, which I thought maybe I was going to use. But I also found out I can't do something that was really important, which was shrink a scene, which allowed me to change my backdrop. So anyways, so we'll see how I do with OBS as well. So what we're going to do, see, this is me trying to figure out what I'm doing here. All right. Oh, look, that transition happened. No, wait, hold on a sec. We're not there yet. There we go. There we go. Finally. All right, so here we are. We've got Unreal going. And this is my setup currently. I was working on it for about an hour, trying to get, I mean, currently the backdrop is running on another computer, and it's just on a, basically using a sequencer on a Rails track that is just traveling around the world at a really slow speed so that we don't all get nauseated. And And so what I'm trying to do now is get it so that it opens up a level. Oh, there's that branch that goes by all the time. Open up a level that, well, basically, it'll open up the level just like it is now. And then if I hit spacebar, it will unload the level, load another, well, fade out to black, unload the level, load up a new level, and then return back to the scene again. And so that's the plan. Anyways, so what we got here, this is the master backdrops level. And when it currently has nothing in the scene, but when it opens on a big in the level blueprint, event begin play, it creates a level sequence player, which is just our fade animation, which just fades our scene, and which may or may not be working still. I don't know. Currently, it's been acting a little funky. I'm not even sure if this is set up properly yet. So we do a fade, and then what we do once it goes to black, we start loading up the environment set map, which is the green backdrop we have right now. And then when this is going to block on load, hopefully, and when it's finished, it's going to play the fade in reverse, which hopefully is already set up to pause at the end. And so then we should fade to the screen, and we're going to play. We'll create the level sequence player, which is the sequencer cinematic that is on this track flying around the world. That goes on forever. And then if anyone hits spacebar, which is actually a new backdrop input event, and then it will play the fade sequence again, hopefully correctly. I may have to add some features here. Currently, this doesn't work. And then we load the Soul City level, which is actually it does, this part works. And it will, and the Soul City level is like a very dark level, lots of neon lights. It's like a total contrast to this forest one. So it's kind of cool. I have not built the sequencer scene for it, which is kind of a nice excuse. Maybe we can get to that today and make the track on that one. And then we have to fade out or switch the fade back in. So we'll see what we got currently. Hit play, loads the environment, and then I hit spacebar. I have to click my viewport, hit spacebar, and then we get the Soul City level here. So at least we're getting the levels to load, so that's good. I even have my audio desktop turned off, which maybe I'll turn that on so we can get that nice rainfall sound there. Let's try it again. So there's nice rain audio. I don't know if that's coming through, but also I should check. Hey guys, just finally getting to my chat here. I have trouble. I'm gonna have to make sure I manage my windows a little better here. I've even got I either got my OBS or my Twitch window here. I got to get my chat panel back up again. Awesome. Nice to see that you caught onto my Twitch stream here. That's great. I guess it does work in your time zone pretty good. So let's see what we can do. We have the problem. Oh yeah, let's check out to see if we got the fades working or not. Because okay, so the first fade does definitely not work. None of the fades work really. So it's possible that the fades may not be interesting enough to really work on. But I'll show you what the what it looks like. We basically have where's our transitions, fade track. Oh, I got nothing on my scene, so that's really going to make this boring. So the way that I got these two levels set up, in order to be able to load the stream level, you have to have them in a levels section here. So this is a special window where you can control your levels. And honestly, it's a well-practiced feature, but yet in the industry, but yet a lot of the stuff that you get from the marketplace, nobody really utilizes this because I think it's it's overly complicated for, it's easy to confuse people in terms of how it works. So, and the reason why is because you can have like all your levels loaded up in your scene at once, which is bizarro. And then there's like somewhere in here, there's a Soul City. There it is. And then, and you have to make sure you keep track of where these objects are. So if I brought something into my world, it would go into the persistent level, which is, you know, the master level. And then you'd have to make sure, oh, I actually wanted that to be in the soul level, or, you know, maybe some stuff has to be in the persistent level in order for it to be called within the level blueprints and stuff. So anyways, you won't find a lot of levels you won't find a lot of projects that you get off the marketplace that use levels, which I was kind of surprised to find, because we used to use it in the industry pretty often, because it was a great way to manage multiple people working on the same project, and you wouldn't have to worry about one person having it checked out and all this stuff. And you could organize your things, so you know, all lighting team would have their level, and cinematics would have their level, and character or environment. But what we're using it for is just to basically go from level 1 to level 2, which is fairly decent usage of it as well. But anyway, so the point is you have to have these things in here, and so that you can call them within the level blueprint. And by default, they all turn off when you play the game. So you, until you call them to be loaded, they will always be disappeared. Oh, and then so we're going to test out the fade. I'm like, why are we doing this again? So there's our fade on sequencer track. It's just basically a fade track. Where's our fade track? There it is. And goes from 0 to 1. So I'm trying to make it so that it plays from 0 to 1, and then it stops, and then we play it in reverse to go back on again, which I don't know. I remember doing this before, and it was very finicky. So I'm not terribly optimistic that this is going to work. We also have a bit of a scenario where if we hit spacebar and we go to the Soul Slum, we kind of want to hit spacebar and go back again. So that makes me think that maybe we should have, I don't know, I wish I had more time to think about this one, but we would have a toggling method so that we would switch from one level to another level and then be able to go back again. We could technically just use like a bridge or something to pick from maybe an array, because right now we have, because you could just stream the level names carefully. This might just be slightly confusing to watch. That's the only downside. And I'd have to sit there and think about it. So it might be really boring to watch. So maybe I won't bother trying to figure that out. We'll just have the one transition. I'll figure that out another time. There was an idea where I could make, like, technically these are just strings. So if I could promote this to a variable, we would have this as like, oh, I guess a name, which is sort of a form of string. And you can switch this to an array, or even a set, which might be interesting, or a map. I thought a set and a map. I thought they were the same thing. Now I'm confused. But an array is pretty logical, because we would just know one node would be A and the other, or in the 0 slot and the 1 slot. So we switch this to an array. Clearly it didn't like what I just did, so I'm just going to disconnect that. And then if we compile this, we should be able to add our elements in the array manually. Oh, see, I lost the name there. That was awesome. So one of them will be this, and the other one is the one I wanted to know. I got to remember what the name is. Where's our levels? Project levels. There they are. So it's just a matter of making sure we get the same name. Levels. Sol Slum. And so we're going to call this backdrop levels. All right. So it turns out I am kind of trying to do this after all. Get, yeah, so you get a reference or a copy. I don't think it really matters too much here, but you can get the 0 integer, which is the first of the array. So then in that case, we would be getting really, you're not going to tell me what those array values are anymore. Where did they go here? There they are. So the first one is going to be the environment set map, and then the second one's going to be the sol map. So how are we going to do this? How do we get it to switch between 0 to 1? Or how do we say whether our priority is 1 or 0? So maybe we should say another variable that's going to be like an integer. Put it back to a regular single value. Current level. Let's see. Current level could just be a name too, really. No, because we kind of want to just keep calling that thing. So we could say things like, what is the current level? Initial begin play. We can say the current level is going to be 0, which obviously I think that's what it defaults to anyways. And then when we switch the input backdrop, so when we call this, for example, we're going to be saying backdrop levels get. And so we're going to be using what is the current level, and we will just use this value. So first time around, it's going to say current level. Oh, see, I wouldn't really want to call it this. That's probably, oh no, begin play. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's fine, I guess. We're going to have to probably make this into a function or something, because this is going to be the repeated pattern that we keep doing over again. This is the fade. We're creating the fade. Okay, so we only want to do that once, really, technically. But the load stream, getting a special level for it, this is all probably going to be a function. Basically, we say load. We're saying load the current level. Okay, so beforehand we'll be saying the current level is now a different one, and then we'll load it, and then down here we're actually unloading it. So in fact, this is probably going to be the loop that we want to deal with here. That we're going to make into a function here. So you can just make it into a function by right click and collapse to function. Oh, not allowed, apparently. Oh, that's news. You can't put a level stream into a function. Wow. I don't understand why that is. Collapse to function, yeah. Well, that kind of breaks my whole plan then. We'll just have to make a custom event. That just basically says switch level. So when you switch the levels, you basically just we're just going to call this. It's going to say what's the current level. Make that the one that we load. Then we need to do this kind of thing. We're going to play the fade out. So I guess we have to do the fade in still. So we do the fade out. We should probably unload it between here, which is kind of what we're doing down on the other action here. And this is where we're going to be like, okay, how do we get the other one? I mean, it works easy if we just had 2, because you just say not that one, you do the other one. But this, if you wanted to do 3 or 4, we need to kind of know what the current level was. Oh, what if we unload first and then we can change the current level and then we load the current level? Because technically we'll be faded out at that point anyways. So switch level, we unload should block on unload. No, that's not necessary. And then we come over here where we're going to say time to switch the levels. So we can so yeah, this is very tricky because you got to be able to say, I was thinking, let's just make the current level 1 iteration up, which maybe is what we're going to do. And then we go, okay, 1 iteration up until it hits the maximum of how many items are in backdrop levels, which we can find out. And if that's the case, then we go back to 0. Okay, this is, I wonder if there's like something that does that already. It's just such a common thing you have to do. Okay, so we're going to get backdrop levels and we can get the length. Oh, yes. And so that's going to give us a total number of items from here, but starting with 0. And so if the length is, sorry, if the current level, so first I guess we'll just add 1 to current level. There's a way to do that easily, I thought. But increment int. I'm not sure if, yeah, I think you still got to set it. This is where the whole C++ comes from. It's just C++. Increment of C. Apparently that's what the naming was from. So current level, set current level. And then now we're going to do a comparison. Or maybe we'll hold off in a sec. Maybe we'll just say, is it greater than the length of backdrop levels? And if that is true, so we'll do a branch. Then oh wait, so if it's true, we don't want to, hold on. If it's false, then yes, we want to save it. If it's true, then we're going to make it 0, which in theory, we should actually maybe have 2 of these. So we say, true. You know, I should have my, I have a, oh, I got a question here. Hey, yes. Thanks for the thanks for the is that Scott that's thanking me? Awesome. What is the thing called? Hold on. I was gonna add this little key press I have. But part of the process of me switching this soft yeah, so it's on the wrong screen. Part of the process of me getting this to work today was me rotating my monitor and rotating my monitor so that I'm only looking at my closets, which is sort of this unusual room where I have like a whole bunch of closets. And so I don't see all this other junk on the other side. But it means I have to use the other monitor as my working monitor, and then my side monitor, which I usually use as my working monitor. I'm usually looking this way, but now I'm looking this way, which is good because that's where the camera is. But it's thrown my whole workflow backwards. Like now my I'm used to having everything there, and it's kind of fun. I mean, it's nice to change things up a little bit. But anyway, what I got is this display thing to show the key presses. But currently it's set for the wrong monitor because it didn't realize I decided to change. Oh, there it is. Key presses over in the corner here. Which is actually right on top of my window. That's yes. Maybe I will make an adjustment here if I can. And we transition to the other side. Here we go. All right. So that actually might be, I don't know. Who knows? I think both corners might be destructive in some way. What was I doing? So current. Current level. Take the current level. Oh yeah, so this is right. We want to if this length is not greater than if A is greater than B, then we set it to 0, and if it's false, we set it to the current level, which has been added by an increment of 1. And then, so after we're done that, then we should be able to load. I'm a little bit worried that both these, can they both do this? Yes, okay, good. They go into here. So now we're gonna load the new current level, which is the next one. And make it visible after load, should block on load, which means this check won't happen until this is finished loading. So hopefully, which I, again, haven't actually included the streaming, the fading part, but here we create the fade and we play it through because it's on autoplay. Current levels at 0, which I think it already is. Actually, you know what? Maybe I don't want to. If I can just make it whatever I want, then that way I might want to start on a different level, which makes sense. I'll override that. Scott's. No worries, Scott. I just have to keep remembering to look over to my chat window, but I'm not. Yeah, it's not too bad. Just something. I'm glad that you guys aren't having like long discussions and I'm like oblivious. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're going to backdrop. That was for the space bar, which is just going to call the level switch now. So we've got these fade plays, which is good. This is totally not probably working because it's complicated. See, even this case, like we've faded it already. We don't need to fade it again. So playing it is probably not useful. Because it's actually going to be like, but it'll be black anyway, so who cares? One of the things we do have to make sure is that it starts from 0. So this sequencer, gets, no, I think it's like set. Ugh, where is it? I want to change the start offset or the start time. Is it offset? Is that what I'm looking for? Scrub 2. Maybe that's what we're looking for. Oh boy, what is new position? Maybe we can just split that struct up. There we go. New position frame number or subframe. So we'll just start at 0, play it from 0 so it fades up. And then we unload the stream, current stream, increment. I should even start labeling these things to be, responsible for what I do here. Grab this chunk, create a comment, fade out. And this is, boy. Unload current level. And this is increment. Whoa, I'm not spelling this very well. Increment. Whoa. There is no spelling check in here. Hey, we have a Rezonian. I forget who Rezonian is. I'm kidding. You guys and your special Twitch names. Oh, okay. Ryan, nice. Yeah, so let me see here. What else am I doing here? So, oh yeah, load stream level. Sorry, I got really distracted there. And I want to make another comment here for load new level. And then fade out, or fade in rather. Boy, oh boy, so much stuff here. Fade in. So that's going to, so what we want to do is grab this handy dandy scrub the frames. And set this to the end. That's not going to be easy. Go to end and stop. That is handy. I had a feeling there was something like that. And then we play in reverse, which will go from nothing to something. What is this? Oh, this is the sequencer for the fly-through. That's I kind of wish I had the other type of comment, whatever. So we got lots of stuff in here. Let me save all this because odds are good that things will go terribly. And so I guess here we're gonna call the switch level at the end of our setting our fade sequence. So switch level. So we're calling that custom action right there. And also we don't need any of this anymore. And so we'll also do it when the user hits spacebar, switch level. So now it will continually keep toggling back and forth, or so the theory goes. We'll see how this actually works out. I'm going to keep that now. I'll close it. So we'll play. Oh, we started on Slum City. That's concerning, because that means we started on 1 instead of 0. So, oh, the third time I hit spacebar, I went back to the, or the second time, I guess. So there's a third level in there somewhere. That's interesting. Here's our cool roller coaster ride track that the camera's riding on. It's actually really crazy because we got like the 2 levels in here. It's so weird. Looks awesome, but totally not normal. Let's see, here we go. Why is it doing that? We've got backdrop objects 0 and 1. Our current level starts at 0. We hit spacebar, and it apparently uses 1, which is weird. Because our first level that we loaded was actually the Soul City, which is not the first attribute, and yet I haven't technically told it to change yet. So what? Oh wait, this is unloading the level. Ah yes, okay, that makes sense. So it unloads 0, it loads up 1. So that's cool. So I guess the other issue is mostly just this question, and I should probably be greater than or equal to, rather than just greater than, because it must be going a little too far. All right, compile, save. So I guess our first level will always be Slum City, unless I switch the default number to 1 instead of 0. So we jump back, there we go. And it's playing the sequencer, which, by the way, I didn't fully appreciate the first time. Excellent. We got ourselves 2 things working at once. We go back here to our Slum City that does not have anything. Oh, you know what I'm not even talking about is whether or not these fade transitions are even working, which something's happening. I don't know if it's anything that is what I wanted. It's definitely flickering and flashing. It's kind of weird. So let's turn off autoplay. Let's we're currently hiding player, which I know is irrelevant. Let's not do, well, okay, if I don't have that on, that would definitely be an issue, because it would just play over and over again. But let's just do it anyways, so I can find out if it even works at all. Yep, so that would be a no, because I should be able to see it right now. Oh, that looked like it faded in. Oh yeah, that is fading in. Does a little flash. But that flash shouldn't be there because the fade out is supposed to kill the screen. Also, while I have Sequencer open, for anybody has ever used Sequencer, they know that this directly affects all your gameplay, which is super annoying. And so it's always a good practice to close Sequencer whenever you're working on stuff, because otherwise you'll have all kinds of weird artifacts. There we go, fade in. Oh yeah, wait, no, I think it's the other fade. Yeah, it's the fade. It doesn't fade out. So let's take a look if we can figure this one out. Scrub. So this would be this one. Fade out. Scrub to frame 0. Play normally. Play rate is at 1. This was actually screwing it up. So I turned it off and then stuff started working. So that's cool. And it was when I was playing it reverse. So that must have been like causing a headache when I was trying to play it reverse from the end of the film, because it was just like, no, we're not doing it. We're paused. It's kind of cool. So what are we doing now? How are we going to fix this? Play. Can we say play from start or something? Oh, you know what it is? I think we don't give ourselves enough time to let it happen. I bet you it's like it starts playing and then it starts unloading, starts loading. It hasn't even started. You haven't even been able to have time to see it yet before we're already finished all the loading, unloading. So that's probably what it is. We may want to add a delay. Maybe even a retriggerable delay, so that if I do happen to be toggling spacebar a lot, it keeps starting over. So it keeps getting, I don't know if that'll, yeah, whatever. So the duration is 0.2 seconds, but the fade is, I don't know, 45 frames, which I assume is at 30 frames a second. So that would be at least 1.5 seconds or so, which is fine. I guess I could make it a little bit shorter. 1.25, and that way it'll cut a bit sooner. There, fade out. Still get a flash. And also the fade in didn't seem to work very good. I think I should make it the full one. Gosh, you said delay. What does that mean? What did I do? Did I say something wrong? Oh, we definitely get the fade out nice. Fade in. Still has that flicker, which I'm kind of surprised. Oh, I got an idea. So maybe when we was just thinking out loud, you need a delay. That was awesome. I wish I had read that before I had spent all this time. Well, I didn't spend that much time, I guess. Fade out. It looks heaps better. Awesome. Yeah, so my theory is you go to the end and stop. Might be causing it to I don't think so though. you have to have at least, so as it's doing this calculation here, there isn't an opportunity, as far as I know, for the screen to even draw because it's busy trying to calculate this all out within a tick. So there wouldn't be a possibility, I would assume, where it wouldn't connect. Or sorry, where it would be in a state where you would, like, between here and here is what I'm wondering. So I was like thinking, oh, what if we well, that's not true because we have block on load, so there would be some ticks happening as we're waiting for it to load. And possibly my theory was, if we do this play, it gets to the end and then it unloads the level, and then we don't realize that the video has actually gone back to, the fade has gone back to a place where you can see it. So maybe we would do this, go to end and stop after the delay. After this delay, so I think I forgot to connect stuff back here. I'll just leave that in case I have to put it back. All right. Fade in. Fade out. Ah, fail. In fact, it even looks worse. Now we're seeing it twice. Oh, that one worked nice and easy, but that's probably because I was looking at the ground. Yeah, so I think it's actually worse. I don't know if you got that frame rate in there or not, but let's take this back. So what does that mean? That means that it fades out, we go to the end, it creates a flicker. Go to the end causes a flicker potentially, but we don't actually do it again at the end. So go to the end and stop. Maybe it's a stopping, is removing the whole thing. It should be like pausing or something. That's what it should be. I don't know if you can pause. Go to end and pause. That would be awesome. Wonder what a good way to do that is. Maybe we'll just put it in there instead of this. And I bet you having it here is not an issue because the time after the blocking, there's no tick that happens between here and here anyways. So as long as we got it all set up in the beginning, we should be fine. Okay, we have an error. What did I do wrong here? Oh, no target. Got it. Okay, gosh, she said that saw a double frame. That's good. Means I'm getting a pretty good frame rate out. Fade out. Hey! That was cool. Fade out. Hey! That's awesome. It never works. Usually, this is like an hour's job to figure out why the stupid flicker is. This is why I was so hesitant to do fades before I even started. I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. I'm going to be sitting here troubleshooting this forever. Okay, good. We got our something here. We're actually making progress. Again, I should save because things always go terribly. Close sequencer, because I'm supposed to do that anyways. Now we get to figure out what our next goal is. The nice thing is we can is that we can add multiple levels now. So we could just keep, all we have to do is just put more names in here and make sure that they're included in the levels. And we could just keep streaming through all sorts of different things. That would be awesome. All right, I guess what we should do now is make a roller coaster ride inside of the Slum City level. The way that sequences work, which is different than the old matinee, is they don't exist inside the level anymore. They exist externally. So so you can load a sequence into any level you want. So I might actually do that just for the sake of having something to work with right away. Well, on the other hand, maybe I should do the whole thing from scratch just so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, but anyway, so I have cinematic, here it is, cinematic folder within environment set. I'll just get a sense of what we're at for how it works in this level. So we have two files. We have the master, which is the ginormously long timeline. See, we're going through a totally different fly through here because I'm in the master level. And inside the master is a clip, part of a shot. So this is the other one. So fly through is inside of master as a shot. So I can double click on fly through, brings me into the fly through sequencer file. And this is, once I highlight my camera here, is a much faster version of the fly through. So my theory was, wow, that's totally not accurate. Why is it? Oh, I had it so that it plays really, really slow, I guess. Wow, how did I do that? I don't even remember where the setting is for that. How did I make it play really, really slow? It's only 150 frames, or maybe it's 150 seconds. Huh, I don't remember how I did that. Anyways, doesn't really matter. I just kind of annoyed that I don't understand what I'm doing. Anyway, the point was I made it quickly on the one track, and then I could just adjust the speed here. So you can, on the shots track, you can change the property speed. So time scale is at 0.006, which is super slow, but I would adjust it in here. And then meanwhile, in the fly through shot, I can make it whatever speed I want. And also just be able to not have this ginormous timeline that's really long. That was the thought of how I approached it. And somehow I also made it previewed so it would play really slow, but I forget how I did that. I don't know whether it's in here or something. And so as you can see, it's a cinematic folder. These are external assets. It really has nothing to do with the map itself. You can load it in any map. So what I'm going to do is open up the Soul City map for Slum City. And we're going to make another folder in here called Cinematic. And like, I think what I would have done is probably just copy pasted those assets over and just started working from that, because I bet you that would have been faster. But instead, I'm just going to do it from scratch. So animation level sequence. This is what a sequencer file is. And so we'll do fly through. I should probably call what I'm trying to fly through here. What is it? Slum City? I forget what the name is. And make another one for master, I guess. So animation, level sequence, master Slum City. I should probably go up here and rename these ones. Master environment set. I'm going to put forest. Oh, I got to check out my assets here. Forest. Okay. I've got all my stuff hooked up to Perforce, which is for two reasons. A, because if I lose something or I want to go back to something, I can, but also because I had to sync it over to the game machine so that it can play it. So it makes my life a little easier. I can just synchronize, and if I'm working on a version, I can just make sure I sync to just that one revision that has the that's in a working state, if that was the case. So I'm gonna go to open up the master. No, I guess I'll open up the fly through. And so what we're gonna do is create a this is unfortunately my key press thing is always in the way. We got how are we making a camera, I guess. So if we want to make a camera, we just build the one up here. It actually not only builds a camera, but it also builds a camera cuts track, which is our track, which is the only way that you're going to see. If you have a camera cuts track, it'll overtake your game playing camera and show you what the camera sees. If you don't have a camera cuts in your sequencer, then the gameplay camera will stay as the main camera, and that can be useful if you're trying to do a QuickTime event that is like just triggered by the gameplay action, and then you have like rocks falling off the side or something. That can be a sequencer event, but then you just don't put a camera cuts in there, and the game player will just see it happening as they're playing the game. So we're gonna build a so we got our camera. Oh yes. So what we need to do is build a Rails track. So under the cinematic section and modes, we can build camera rail rig. They also have a camera rig crane, which is cool. These are really nice tools for getting nice arcs and clean movements, natural kind of real life stuff, as opposed to like if you just in Maya and you're moving cameras around. It has that real CG effect. And sometimes you get into these gimbal lock issues too as you're trying to rotate your camera. So it's kind of nice to have a real world thing that kind of does all the movements for you. So with the rail track, you're just basically moving a spline curve, which is kind of cool that Unreal even lets you manipulate spline curves in the real-time environment. And you can use spline curves for all kinds of fun stuff. I actually haven't got much experience with it, but for example, these hydro wires could very well be, well, they don't know if they are though. They might just be a vertex animation off of a material. But usually what people will use them for is like ventilation piping that you want them to look organic, and you don't want to make these custom meshes and then import them. You can just tweak it and manipulate it. And it like, if you make a nice blueprint with it, you can have it manipulate real time in the environment and customize it to your level. So if you want to add another piece to it, you just right click in the area and add a spline point, and now you can start to add pieces. And these are the spline handles, tangent handles that you can mess with to change its angle. So I really have no idea what I want to do, but I do know that this has to somehow loop. And I'm in this camera mode that is very tight field of view here. So let me turn off my camera preview. Also, the camera rig is currently in, it's a item is spawned by sequencer mode. That's my camera. Sorry, actually what I was trying to say was the, that's also interesting, But my camera rail rig, which isn't even in my sequencer yet, I gotta bring it in there first. I was going to say is in my level, not my sequencer, which, I mean, maybe it's good that it's, no, it probably shouldn't be in the level. Well, Maybe it's good that it's in the level. So here's our camo rail rig. Drag it into my sequencer. Now it's part of the sequencer file, and it's got its own information and tracks. So what we're going to be using is current position on rail, and it's going to have like the here it is, the position. Basically, the first position will be at 0, and it goes up to 1. So the final position is going to be at 1. And that's going to basically make the rail, I don't know if you can see that down there, but it just travels from one point to the next. And it doesn't really matter. You can make the thing as long as you want. It still just goes from 0 to 1. And then we want to make our camera attached. So one of the tracks for the camera, or for any object really, is an attach track, or track, I guess. And so you can bind it to the rail rig object and make sure that it's covered the entire distance of the timeline, otherwise it won't be connected. So if I jump into our camera view, we should be now moving along the rail rig here. Obviously, we're not only are we looking in the wrong direction, but we're also probably quite far away from the actual rail rig because the offset is being included. So we have to go into our transform and remove any kind of offset here. So now we put on the camera again. We're going to be looking at our roller coaster tracks. These tracks, unfortunately, are very intrusive in your scene. So there's an option here to actor hidden in game. And then that didn't work. What is it? You got to put game mode on. How if I hit G? Yeah. So then if you hit G, which is game view, they won't show up. I don't know if this checkbox had anything to do with that or not. Let me just double check that. No, it didn't have anything to do with that. So just hit G. It's not really supposed to show up in the game. It's just supposed to show up as an editor thing. But it might be useful to know to get rid of it because you're obviously it's kind of annoying that it's in the way all the time. All right, so now we're going to do the boring thing of making a track here. I'm going to change the camera. Oh boy, how do I do this? I can change the camera speed. I forget where the setting is for changing the aperture or the field of view. I feel like it was right here. There it is. Okay. All right. So we grab our, oh, here it is, the rail rig. Whoops. What did I do? And we're going to start dragging it around the world. Let me just back up for a minute here and see what I'm going to be able to do. It's going to be hard. I could technically just make it not loop and it'll just jump to a new scene. But it would be kind of nice if it did. I mean, in theory, I could make it into a whole cinematic sequence where you have camera cuts and everything. I suppose I'm not really fully appreciating it. I think this level starts in a hallway somewhere. All right, I think it's right here. I got my handy little cinematic camera down here, which isn't helping me at all right now. Where is this hallway? My timeline is not on the first frame. That's why I can't see what's going on here. So let's try and back it right up. I do like the sparky thing because I know that the sparks do work nicely with my lights in my camera and in my real world lights. At least those ones do. Some of the other sparks don't really do anything. Okay, so Traveling down the hallway. Actually, one thing I do like to do is make this aperture of the aperture of the not aperture, focal distance. I like to make it pretty wide because, and then what I do is I crop it up inside of the actual window, because then you get like a smaller, basically the range outside of your screen, inside of the little window here I have, you would have so the way I haven't explained this very well. The lights use the monitor color to determine what color they shine. So if I make them really wide angle, then the lights have more information along the side of the screen to determine what color you're supposed to be showing. But meanwhile, the actual camera is cropped up more close to the middle so you can see what's in front of you. And so you'll still get better light pass from the sides, but meanwhile, you get like a fairly normal looking image at the end. Like for example, right here, if we change this to be wide angle like we are, you're still seeing the lights on the side of the screen. But if you cropped it, you would only be seeing, a smaller portion of that window. But meanwhile, you'd still be getting that light to do that dynamic sparking. So you're supposed to be seeing something in the camera a little bit. There's a third light that's coming in the mail, and that would be fun too, because right now I have two, but I would actually kind of like them to be more back further and then have the middle light fill in the middle light. But right now I just have one over here that is doing the fill, but it's technically the light for the side. But because I'm looking this way now, which has changed the dynamic a little bit, it is actually fairly even, but there isn't technically anything in the middle, which sometimes doesn't work very well in the scene, because you might have two dark things on the side and a bright thing in the middle, but then the whole scene looks dark, but meanwhile there's bright things in front of you. I don't know. It's a minuscule problem, but I actually might pull it maybe more higher and bring it down more so that it feels, because technically my landscape is behind me, not in front of me. So if there's a sunset, it doesn't make any sense. The sun would be shining on my face. So if I had it more above me, shining backwards on me, like give me more of like that halo light effect, it might seem more like it would fill in the light a little better. I don't know. It's something to experiment with. I'm also getting a new microphone, so I'm not going to use this headset, which we'll see if that improves or not. I'm not sure. I do like my headset, but it does make sometimes the little splicitive things, whatever it's called, the little puffs and stuff, if I'm speaking too quickly. So anyway, get this over here and bring this curve. Oh, I just selected the rain. Let's make it so we don't see. Actually, let's turn off real time and turn off effects. Why do I do that? Particle sprites. There it is. There we go. So I think I'm supposed to go this way down the hallway. Obviously, it'd be nice if I could like pass some lights and stuff. Probably messed up the hallway thing here. Let me try and bring that in. Passing by that thing. Maybe what I should do is make another spline point here. So right click, add spline point. Maybe go buy this light or something. Oh, I'm not even nearby. All right. Let me go over here. Oh boy, where am I going? This is a level that is free on the marketplace it's been free for a while. It was I remember when it came out a couple years ago that it was actually made, I don't know if it was the Epic team or it was a promotional piece though, just to explain how fast you can make stuff in Unreal. And they did this in like, I don't know, like a week or something. And really fast turnaround time. And there's a lot of modularity and reused assets, which is kind of interesting to see because, oh, I didn't even know about this part. How far does it go? Oh my goodness, there's a whole bunch more stuff over here. Whoa. Whoa. And some of these things are interesting. Like this wheel that's turning, that's not even an animation. I have it in real time off. It's not even an animation. That's I mean, it's an animation, but it's actually it's rotating using material vertice manipulation rather than like a rotating geometry from, you know, like as of a traditional animation export, which is like, whoa, that's awesome use of just material animations, which like it's easy to animate using materials. It's just a matter of knowing how to control it. It's a little, I mean, I guess it's not that easy. It's not very intuitive because you got to use a lot of math in order to do it, but it's very cheap. So it's kind of cool that way. All right, why can't I right click on this and say create new vector point? That's what I want to do. There we go. So we'll move this one down here. I'm going to see if I can get all the way down this hallway. I think it would be kind of cool. Passing through another hallway. Awesome. Thanks, Gash. The odds that that comes right at the same point. That seems like it's done on purpose. All right, make another point here. Oh, got some red lights. That should be fun. Except for until I get my green screen, red lights are terrible. That's how I go invisible. Although I guess I should talk about how green screen is a green background. So that means I go invisible if I pass a green light, which is something I was considering after I purchased the green screen, which is in the mail. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. Anytime I go by a green light. But if it's a really clean, well lit green screen that has no like shadows or variations in it, like that's what I really need to do is make sure it's nice and clean so that and also make sure that these color lights are not influencing the quality of that green screen. Then I should be able to get it to to stay under a very high tolerance or very low tolerance, I guess, so that if I do want to put another, so if there is a green light that turns on, it would be a very small spectrum of colors that it would actually consider as being transparent. I'm losing my arm. Oh, am I? Awesome. How am I doing that? Did it go through a shadow and it disappeared? I can't see it happening right now. So maybe it's just it fell off on a branch. It's like the branch. Oh, that was another thing I was thinking about doing. Which I don't think well, maybe I'll do it in a stream. It'd be kind of fun if I could. But it was like you would put, if there's a way to put video streams into Unreal. Like they do it for, I don't know, if in a game you have a television set and it's playing like a little show or something. That's a stream of a video into the game. Even cinematics could be a stream of video. So it's definitely supported. They've had it since like very early on in Unreal as a thing that you could do. And I was actually playing with it early on just to see if I could, just to see if that's how you do cinematics, like pre-rendered cinematics or whatever. But it was pretty buggy. This was early days. And anyway, so hopefully it's pretty stable. But what you can do is import a video stream. And if I could figure out how to get my OBS, or at least not even necessarily, well, maybe with OBS, but a video stream from my webcam into a link, a stream link, which is what it looks for, is a link, then I could technically stream my video onto just basically a plane in Unreal. And it would be, hopefully I'd have to get the alpha transparency in there. I might have to do that through OBS and do a chroma key and then put that stream into Unreal. But anyway, I offset it by a few feet from the camera, attach it to the camera, and then I would actually be in the 3D scene. And so branches would actually go through me, which would be super cool. And then like, I know, eh? This is ridiculous. Why am I spending so much time thinking about this? I don't know. But you could have like a lens flare, and the lens flare would come across the screen. It would actually go in front of me. If it was like raining or snowing, it would like happen in front of me. And I'm sure I could come up with all kinds of fun things to do, especially like blooms from lights, like light blooms would technically draw. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how well it handles the alpha channel. It would be so much fun though. I'd be able to do like these cool levels or like things are happening and I'm like, it's flying in front of me. I'm like, oh geez, this thing got in front of me. I'm having too much fun. All right, so let's keep going with this. We'll do this first, and then I will think about all these other ideas down the road. I'm still trying to get through this complicated hallway here. There's just so much free assets available on Unreal that like it's just, you have such a library to choose from. And I mean, I'm not even talking about like Quixel and all that stuff. It's like you just have like enormous amounts of amazing content just constantly being thrown at you for free. And it's like, wow, what can you do with all this amazing free stuff? Okay, I have made it out of this building. Let's get ourselves traveling away here. And the other thing is, it's because you're looking through the back. You're looking backwards through the camera. I actually play the whole thing backwards because I'm like, because I mean, I actually like playing it so that it does go backwards. It's more interesting because you don't know what's going to happen next. Like you don't know what's going to come around. If you played it so that I was going, if the landscape is going the other way, I feel like it'd be pretty boring because you'd see this big tree and slowly it would approach and then you've got past the big tree. But because we're going this way or whatever, all of a sudden this big tree shows up and it's just like, oh, where did I see that tree coming? So it makes it a little more interesting to watch, I think. All right, I don't even really know how far I'm going to go here because I don't even know how far they've polished this scene here. I might make it to this thing over here. And then we'll talk about how to make sure our curves are set up so that we don't slow in and out. Although I don't know if that's, maybe we do actually do want to slow in and out now that we're not making it loop. So, but we can definitely play with it. Hopefully the consistency of speed throughout this thing is not going to adjust too much. Like just because I've got the ratio of points doesn't always work out totally evenly. So maybe it's going to be all compressed as a spline curve, for example, is like really pressed in there. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So if I scrub this, you should see us go through it. Now you notice the camera doesn't rotate, doesn't inherit the rotations. But that's okay because I probably want to. So yeah, I would probably play it backwards now that I've done all this work here. And that's pretty easy to do. I just switch these numbers from 1 to 0. So now it goes backwards. And I'm just going to have to make sure that I, oh yeah, so I actually slow down a little bit going past that part. It actually plays very quickly. And then so to do the camera rotations fairly easily, I'll see if I can actually get this all wrapped up by the end of our 2 hours here. You walk around town backwards. That's awesome. I like that. It doesn't look weird at all. It's great. So we want to key all our rotations and our translations on our transforms here so that we have everything set up on the first frame, which is we're going to see right here. Actually, I should just turn on the camera, and that way we can see what we're doing. Switch it into game view so I don't see those rail tracks. So, but actually the rail tracks are kind of telling me that I'm not pointing the right way right now. And so I get the yeah. Let me go that way. And you got to key it unless I have it set to auto key, which is a feature that came out not too long ago. I got some red. Maybe I'll want to turn the camera a little bit here. Wow, we really get close to these guys. Wow. There's a lot of movement here. Oh, I should probably key that so I don't lose that orientation. Come over here. Rotate it this way. Rotate it down. There's our red light. wonder if we can make it go up more. Oh, and we'll hold that orientation. Maybe not there. Bring it down. Probably want to keep that rotating a little bit. This might be a good spot where we can start working with a curve editor a bit. Especially if that doesn't quite work out perfectly. Okay, I better save it. It's been a while since I've saved things. I did this with the forest level. I did the whole thing and then I saved it. I thought I saved it. And then all of a sudden I realized everything was gone. I'm like, oh, kind of. I didn't even have a chance to check in a version that worked. I only had like the one version that I thought I saved and it didn't even work. But I guess the good thing was it didn't take me that long to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had that much problems. Wow, that's crazy. All right, we have ourselves a very extreme level here. Let's put this in the master level, and that way I can slow it down and we can do tweaks more to it. So I went over to the master level and I'm going to add there's a shot track and then there is a subscene track and then there's a camera cut track. So camera cut track is what cameras overtakes the camera. Shot track is what we're going to use to import another sequencer. And subscene tracks are for like they have very specific purposes. They're like it comes in as a track and it's got information about like characters, animations, and stuff. So you could, in theory, do a sorry, what am I doing here? Password subs fly through. In theory, you could do like an animation on a whole sequencer file. Just worry about the animation, get the animation in there, do all the keys, have all that junk, all this mess inside of a sequencer file that's just focused on animation, not even worry about the cameras. And then put that in as a subscene track into your other scene so that it's much cleaner, but it still has all that animation movement and everything in there. So it's kind of like a layer, sub-nesting layer system. It's pretty cool. But definitely not one of those like super intuitive, like, especially when you're trying to remember what they all do, because there's 3 of them that kind of all sounded like the same thing. All right, how many frames was this again? 20,000, I think. So we make our final frame. Wait, we're not there yet. Where's our final frame? The red bar is where the sequence, this sequence shot will end. And then it's a bit confusing sometimes because there's multiple bars. So even the big red bar is for master sequence. And then there's a little red bar. That's where the shot ends for the fly-through sequence. Now, it ends pretty quick because we have it playing at full speed, but we're going to make that play speed at, well, maybe we'll try 0.006 again. And that will make it really much longer. We're looking for that red bar, which didn't show up, so I think I've stretched it a little too far. Let me put on the camera preview. Yeah, so I'm not actually far enough. assuming that this is the right speed. Let me just play it for a second here. Oh yeah, it's pretty slow. So properties, let's make it 0.8. There we go. Now we can see our red bar. 0.75. 0.78. 7. All right, we'll do 7.7. And I guess what we should do, because this is going to end fairly abruptly. Oh man, it's still really slow. Let's do it faster. 9, or maybe we would just go straight to 1. See what that looks like. There we go. That's a good speed. So we'll just cut this back to there. Tighten that up. So we should do a fade track is what I was trying to say. So that we get like so slow. So that when we get to the end of it, oh yeah, so it even stops. So I actually want to cut it a little tighter, otherwise the camera will come to a stop. So you can just add a fade track to any scene, but I'm going to put it in the master track, because the master scene, because that makes sense. So fade track, we just need 4 keys with where it ends. Because it's such a huge timeline, these are actually probably going to look really close together. So we put one there, put one there, and we'll set this to 1. That way it will fade out. Let's play it and see how fast that takes. Yeah, and the cool thing about fade outs is my whole lights will turn off. I don't know if that's cool or not, actually. I'm just trying to think the problems that would come about that whenever I would disappear from the camera. That's probably not what I want. Let's see here. I'm having trouble getting this started here. So there's a key. Do another key. Set that to 1. See how fast that fades in. Oh yeah, it's nice and slow. Whoa, that hasn't even started moving yet. Okay, so let's address that issue. That's the slow in, slow outs happening on a slow motion, which is even crazier. Maybe what we'll do is we'll make it linear. Since we faded it in and out, we shouldn't probably have that slow in and out anymore. So we'll save this. We can actually just double click on that track. It'll pop us inside of that fly through. And then, what am I doing? Oh yeah, curve editor for position on rail track. So we'll pick this track, and here's the curve editor up here. And you can see it's slow in, slow out. So we'll make it linear. And they've actually done quite a lot of improvements to the graph editor in recent versions. So it acts a lot more like the kind of graph editor you would expect in Maya. It's always been a bit clumsy, I found. I mean, Sequencer isn't that old, to be honest. It's just, I think it came out in version 4.20 or something, maybe earlier than that. So they've been slowly adding features like animation blending, which, you know, was one of these amazing things that we've always been asking for, and it's like it's been too expensive. And then now we can actually do animation blending inside of Sequencer. So if you have a run cycle and you have an idle cycle, well, maybe that's not a great example, but oh, whatever. So anyway, you put the two of them, you crisscross them over, and they'll crisscross just like in story mode and motion builder, and you'll have a nice blend. And I think that is cool. Like, that is like where, I mean, this goes into a whole conversation about how they're getting this animation rigging system working in Unreal, which I watched a video last night and I put up on our Slack channel, and it's like, it's pretty awesome. they have a very cool thing going with rigging, which, you think, it's just rigging and that's complicated, but they've like reinvented rigging and it's totally different approach. And it's like so much more smarter, so much more flexible. You have like just such an interesting dynamic variable that we've never been able to do it was virtually impossible to do in Maya. And now you just sort of like look it up and yeah, sure, you get some dynamics here and some animation IK system here. And it's like, what? That's crazy. And he's only just got a few nodes. And he's like, if you're animating in Unreal with these crazy dynamics, it's so cool. Like, it's a big game changer. The only problem is you got to animate in sequencer. So it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be an issue. Animating in sequencer has never been the easiest thing when you compare it to Maya. But, if they keep improving it, you never know. All right, so we made that linear. Let's save that track out. Well, whatever. We'll go back to master. Let's just see how it transitions again. Master, play. Yeah, so now we're just moving right away. All right, cool. There was a couple spots that I thought was a little bit silly. But yeah, like right here. So we'll jump out of the cinematic. We'll put game mode back on again, which is way easier if I just hit G. And then we can grab our curve and, let's just grab this one over here. Pull it in a little bit. Put ourselves back in the camera. Ooh, so there's a bit of a weird rotation thing here. So let's take a look at that. Rotation on the yaw. Go to the graph editor. Yeah, so let's simplify this down a little bit here. Make sure we have some fairly fluid curves. Hopefully that works out. There's a way that you can just put that in a tab, I guess. Yeah, so like right here. There's a reason why I had a key there. Right. All right, we'll just make sure that it stays low. Yeah, there's a reason why I probably had a key here. I wonder if, see what happened there is I just dragged out of the timeline. And because these are little electricity bolt on them, they're dynamic to the cinematic. So when you drag out of the timeline, it actually deletes the object from the world. So, I mean, you can convert it. You just right click on it and say convert to possessable, which means that now they're in the level. But I actually want them to exist in the sequencer if I was ever to reuse it. I technically would want this rail rig to be existing in the sequencer as well. So maybe I will just say convert to spawnable. And now it also exists in here. I should have saved it before I did that. Because now I've lost it. And I forgot that there might be a sacrifice. Let me see if I've still got it. Okay, good. I don't normally do that. I don't know if that was a bug or just the way I did it. Anyways, I'm not going to do it right now because I can't be bothered to reanimate that whole curve. So what we want to do is make a key right here. But if I go off the timeline, I'm screwed. So I'm going to be very careful. And I just want to make it so that we just have a little bit more movement. It doesn't kind of flatline there completely. And might make it look a little more polished. And I almost wonder if this needs to be, oh no, it goes that way. Okay, so good, we're done. Let's close that tab. Let's save this. Let's close that. Let's save everything. Let's save the level. And when you're hooked up to source control, which I'm currently on Perforce, you can just say submit to source control, and it will apply everything to the source control. So added first pass of slum walk through or fly through, and submit that. It goes to my server, which is just over there. This is not very far away. And then, I know what I have to do. So I've given myself a very small amount of time to go to the level blueprints of the master level. It's still submitting. Apparently these are big levels, which makes sense. What I have to do is add that sequencer so that it triggers instead of, so we switch sequencers. Open level blueprint. Open level blueprint. So this part, right at the end here, we're currently saying create forced sequencer file, but we don't know if, so what do we do? What we can do is potentially make another, basically a level sequence that is an array, and we just assign current level to it. There we go, smart. So promote to variable. That way it's the right type of object. So this is a level sequence object. So now I've just created a new variable using, it's a level sequence type. And so we're going to call it fly through sequences. And we're going to convert this to an array. And it's all like, yo, that's not what you use arrays for. And we're going to compile that so that we can see the list here. And we're going to make two objects, and they're going to be in the same order as our backdrop levels. So master forest and master slum city. And we're going to make that get. And we're going to use, that's just going to be in the same ratio as current level. And then set that up to go in there. I must admit that worked out a lot easier than I first thought it would work out, assuming of course this does work. All right, we're going to create a proper thing here for play fly through. Okay, compile, save. All right, let's see if it works, and then we can try putting it over to the other computer. So, play. Oh yes, it worked. Sequencer is happening, and we have sound effects, which I realize that this is going to be a bit of a problem. Oh no, wait, it won't matter because sound effects are happening on my game computer, so that should be fine. Then I hit space. Oh, I gotta make the window active. Space bar, fade out. We still got flashes, and that's the wrong sequencer. Huh. I didn't really think about it, but maybe I have to delete the sequencers. Maybe this won't be as easy as I thought. Or stop them at least. Okay, I can do that. So fade out, unload level, and stop sequencer before we change our versions. Ugh, I don't know what sequencer it's going to be though. This is a bit of a problem because I have to store it. So I guess all I have to do is say the out actor, which is the final, or no, wait, this is the return level sequence. Wait, no. I don't know. They both do the same thing. I'm confused. So we'll promote this to variable and we'll call this current current sequencer, or fly through, I guess. And that way, now there's going to be a little trick I have to do. I already foresee it. Is I'm going to say here, I'm going to go set, no, not set, get, and we're going to say stop sequence player. Oh, interesting. It's actually had to pull it out of that. So maybe one was a sequence player and one was the sequencer actor and sequence player actor. Okay, cool. So let's do this one instead. Means I got to promote a different variable. Or I could just switch it to sequence player. You can just do a search here for sequence player. And then you get the object reference for it. This is how you can do it for anything if you want to do it manually. That's not going to work anymore, but now this one will work. No? Never mind. I thought it was going to work. Level sequencer. Maybe it's not a reference. I don't know. Maybe I just grabbed the wrong thing. Current fly through sequence. And I'm going to get rid of this. And we're going to grab this. And that is going to do exactly the same thing. So stop. Stop at current frame. Interesting. I wonder what that means. So now the catch is this variable won't be created until it's been played through once. So the first time it runs through this, it's going to be like, this is invalid. It doesn't exist. So what are you trying to do? So there's an option that says is valid. And you can use that to check so it doesn't error out. And we'll just check that this is valid. And if it is valid, then we'll stop it. And if it's not valid, then we'll just keep going. And then we'll comment this for stop sequencer. Now, the real question is this even going to work? So we'll find out. So level, spacebar, fade out. Yes, it worked. Wow. Thank goodness. I might still have enough time to actually get this over. Maybe not though. because I have to compile it. Well, I don't have to compile it, I guess. Save current. Save all. Submit to source control. Swapping or stopping sequencer. Submit. Okay, and then we go, what do we do next? Oh, I was going to start compiling it. Package project, Windows 32-bit. I'm going to put it in the same folder. Get it going. And then we're going to jump over to the other computer. And we'll close it. And we'll get latest on the project. So hopefully it's going to send these files over. 7 files updated. And so, I mean, I'm just going to try opening it locally rather than try and do like, I just don't know how long this compile is going to last for, because it might, these are giant scenes, so it may actually take a long time to compile. But you can see my lights go very bright when we have white environments. Oh, you asked, does sound change when you're inside a building? Yes, you can do that in the settings for sounds, and they may have done that. That is definitely a capability, but it's really more of a something a person who does audio would know more about. So I really don't have. I know that there's definitely settings to do it though. Okay. This is whatever. The other computer's pretty good. It shouldn't be that bad. So we're in master backdrops, hopefully. I don't know. We should be. Oh, yeah, we were. And then we're going to do play, play standalone game, because mostly quite dark right now. Also, I wonder if my, oh look, I'm getting low latency here. This is probably because I'm compiling on the same computer I'm streaming with. So I may have to stop that. If I can just get over here. Oh no, it's all finished now. Am I still on or am I dead? I can't see myself working. Wow, okay. I am way lagging. All right, well, anyways, I'm going to keep going. So we have this set up so that it's playing in the background. I need to make sure that my stream is set up to have that. So I'm going to change its, nope, what is it, properties? Gosh darn it, I forgot how to do this. It's been so a while. Oh yeah, properties. And we turn on. A bit laggy. Yeah, I'm a little. Which one is it? This one, probably. Yes. Okay. That's still running. Let's pop back over there. Minimize. Oh, it is still compiling. Wow, so I'm probably still laggy. That's unfortunate. I thought I had already stopped. Let me cancel the lagginess. Sorry about that. I thought it was done. All right, so hopefully I'm back and up again. Let me go back to switch to my right transition. We'll see what we got full screen. The only downside is I have to wait a really long time for me to be able to see the changes. That's a disappointment. Okay, cool. We're back. Potentially, or at least when I look at the stream, it does not look like we're back, but at least not in real time. So here's the scene in on the other computer. I'm going to hit spacebar on it so that it transitions. Ooh, it looks kind of cool with the dark and the bright. And then we go to the forest. And then we transition. Not sure where that light's coming from. That must be my monitor. Oh, we got some red lights. No, it's not red at all. Oh yeah, a little bit of red coming in. Yeah, you can see some red. Oh, wait, that's not from there. Some red over here, maybe. Anyways, I'm having fun. Oh yeah, look, I'm transparent through the leaves. We'll have to see what it will be like when we get into the area that has lots of, oh yeah, there's my head's out of it, area where there's lots of lights and stuff. But anyway, I've got it set up. We'll have lots of time to enjoy that through the next switches, and hopefully I'll also be able to tweak it out, make it a little bit better. So I have 2 more minutes left. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm actually not late on this one. It does seem almost impossible that, oh, we're gonna get to the spark section. Excellent. There we go. We're going down the hallway. And it's hilarious. My Twitch feed looks way behind, so oh, look how transparent I'm getting. Very interesting. Look at, that's great. I look very sci-fi right now. There's our swinging light. So I guess what's happening is it's getting either dark or yellow. Those are yellow lights. So, you know, hopefully the green screen will fix that. Here comes the sparks. That's just not impressive enough. Come on, where's those good sparks I used to see? All right, well anyway, I'll have to work on it. Maybe we can find ways to improve it so that we get more enhanced effects. There, we got to see the transition from the start to the end. So that worked pretty good. All right, I will stop here because I'm probably boring people as I watch myself in the camera, which is hilarious. So I'll wrap up the Twitch stream here, and you know, we'll be doing this hopefully weekly at least. It's definitely something that is just experimenting with the different ideas of how to work with Twitch, and also I'll be able to get some work done while I'm doing it. Hopefully, at least try some ideas. I got a few things I wanted to do. I was kind of thinking maybe today I was going to work on it, but I just ended up spending more time doing this, which was fun. So I will leave it there, and I'll wrap up the Twitch stream. Thanks for everybody who's showing up, and it was good to see you too, Gash. Nice that you got to see this stream, my first stream, and I'll leave it there. All right, take care, everybody.